We are now parked on Oak Hill. We are facing north. The Eternal Peace Light Memorial is directly in front of us. It was dedicated on July 3rd, 1938, exactly 75 years after the conclusion of the battle. Now imagine 200,000 people standing in the open fields behind us, listening to then President Franklin Delano Roosevelt as he dedicated this memorial as a symbol of this country's unity and peace under one flag. This dedication marked the last of the great Civil War reunions. Approximately 1,800 veterans attended the ceremony. Their average age was 95. And while these old veterans of the blue and the gray now stood united, in 1863 they faced each other as mortal enemies on this very ground. The hill where the Peace Light Memorial sits had a lot of strategic value at the time of the battle. As you can see, Oak Hill is one of the highest points west and northwest of town. Occupation of this hill gave the Confederates a broad field of fire. From here, they could blast the Union First Corps, positioned on McPherson's Ridge. Controlling high ground is paramount to both armies during the battle, as it was during the entire Civil War. That is why Oak Hill was so important on July 1st, 1863. Just as Little Round Top, Cemetery Hill, and Culp's Hill were important geographical features on the subsequent days of the battle. Oak Hill was also the staging ground for one of the most ill-fated attacks of the first day's battle. At around 2:30 in the afternoon, Confederate infantry emerged from the woods on Oak Hill all around where we are currently parked. Looking out across the Mumminsburg Road directly behind you, the Confederates saw what appeared to be the right end of the Union First Corps near the long row of monuments visible to your rear. Major General Robert Rhodes, commanding the Confederate troops on Oak Hill, believed the Union line was a threat to his own command and resolved to hit the Yankees first. He issued orders to attack with 3 infantry brigades. The Center Brigade was a group of some 1,300 North Carolinians under the command of Brigadier General Alfred Iverson, the son of a former United States Senator. Forming a battle line just to the south of the Mumminsburg Road, Iverson's men marched in perfect formation towards the Union position along Oak Ridge. But things started to go wrong almost immediately. Iverson had chosen not to lead his troops in person, and could therefore do nothing but watch as his men began drifting left towards a stone wall. Hidden behind this stone wall, on the slopes of Oak Ridge, were the men of the Union First Corps. When Iverson's men were within close musket range, these Union troops sprang to their feet and let loose an absolutely terrifying volley of musketry. Over 500 North Carolinians were mowed down in an instant. They literally fell dead or wounded in a line as straight as if on dress parade. In fact, up on Oak Hill, from General Iverson's vantage point, his troops appeared to be able-bodied men lying on the ground in battle formation. So when he looked out and saw white handkerchiefs being waved around, he was shocked, believing that his men were surrendering en masse to the enemy. It was not until later that he learned that most of the men he saw were either dead or badly wounded. The few survivors were the ones who raised their handkerchiefs to avoid being completely annihilated. In total, nearly 900 of Iverson's North Carolinians were killed, wounded, or captured by the end of the fighting. The other 2 brigades advancing in conjunction with Iverson were also repulsed with heavy losses. So the attacks from Oak Hill that started out with great promise ended in disaster for the Confederate Army. For the moment, the Union Army appeared to have repulsed their enemy once again. But by mid-afternoon, the Confederates were ready to attack again. This time, the assault was on all fronts. The Union 1st and 11th Corps were in a fight for their very survival.